terms of the rest of our brothers and sisters of the human family, than to allow the lives of the state to set, because if the lives of the state should set and continue to set, then what we are doing is allowing a police state to take effect. And if we do not take the time to sit down and write the book about it, and give all the facts and the information and the truth, to expose the lies told by the state who represents the interest of the rich of the world, if we don't make intervention on these lies, then we are sitting back, just like the farmer along the railroad tracks that watched the Jews in trainloads being hauled off to Warsaw to be buried in mass graves after being gassed and burned alive in the ovens. That's how it can go. If we don't arrest genocide, when we see it, the rise of a police state or totalitarianism, each and every one of us has a duty to arrest it before it puts us to rest. So, with all that, and all of the documentation, I am going to read everything that I had put in this book, almost like a jigsaw puzzle, and took all the bits and pieces of information that came out during the course of the trial. And in the book, towards the end of the book, now there's great things that happen now. But we had to do the work. In the book, I say to you, I said, okay, here's the lies. They told this lie, this lie, this lie, but also there's all these other facts over here. And I put all these facts together and I said, well, if all this is true, then what the RCMP did is that they created a situation to allow John Creechin to utilize the Joint Task Force 2 up at Gustafson Lake in violation of international law. And if I am correct, because like I say in the book, for instance, example, I said that one of the articles during the tower standoff was talking about what a big business boom there was. All the restaurants and the hotels, everybody was booked, making big money. The hardware store had sold out every single car battery, has sold out all of the fishing line, all of the nuts and bolts and screws and nails. And I said to myself, being a shrewd old warrior, a strategist, a tactician, I said, hey, wait a minute. Those are all things you need to make a bomb. Landmines. Of course, I'll put the mention of the red station or the wooden clothesline, but I know one of the board. And I said to them, I said in the book, and I said to the reader, I said, look, if this is so, this is how you make a bomb. And if this is so, then somebody came in and taught the RCMP how to make a bomb. And who better could do that but the JTF too? So I go out on the limb and say that in the book. I also said that they were going to be used on September 18th to come in and make the final kill after all the lies were told. And sure enough, my friends, I get a call. I hear about this guy who is a reporter years down the road for the Ottawa Citizen, and he's a journalist that tracks on military affairs for the Ottawa Citizen. Now, he just recently came out with a book called Canada's Secret Command Response, the Joint Task Force 2. And during the time that we talked, I had supplied him with information about them being up the lake. He then goes and has conversations with RCMP, and on the basis of the conversations with the RCMP confirmed to him every allegation that I made, that the JTF2 had come in and taught them how to make landmines, and were planning for the final assault to kill those that were in the camp, including killing me and my family this report because now I say, given the fact that we have exposed the lies, now we have to hold the Christian government responsible, and we intend to demand a public inquiry. This report has gone to every member of Parliament and every Senate member, both in the United States and Canada, and the 250 media worldwide, and now it's coming to you. And it is around the world, and we're trying to get together a coalition of labor, environment, women, every single organization, church, to come together and to back this call for an immediate public inquiry. And remember, I say most of the inquiries are already done in that book, in this report. So, an apology from the Christian government, monetary compensation, and if the Christian government does not live up to 1 and 2 points, then the third point is we will take the Christian government and charge them with the crimes of genocide and violations of the conventions of 1948 of the United Nations, and Canada will be the first country that will be put on the docket of the newly formed International Criminal Court at The Hague in July. And you'll be there to support us, won't you? Won't you? Yes, you will. You have to, because if you don't, you're not intervening on genocide. I know it's John Jim Jensen. Don't let them fool you. Don't let them fool you. It's not as sweet as it looks. Here's a guy sitting on $7.3 billion in a slush fund. The Canadian military's got billions of dollars worth of satellite equipment sitting in some warehouse. And people are starving to death over circumstances. So I'm going to read this after I take a little break. How's everybody doing? You want to stand up for a minute? Shake it just a second. Loosen up. Go ahead. Let me read this report. We'll take a smoke and we'll take a half-hour break, okay? All right? Here we go. So feel free to stand up while I'm saying this, because this is going on the record. Joint Task Force 2, JTF2. A special report to Parliament Hill calling for an inquiry, monetary compensation, and government apology to Indians in Dawson Lake for criminal procedures of the International Criminal Court at The Hague. Unlike most Americans, who have a thorough grasp of the nature. Janice, you feel like it? You feel like it? Okay, let's have a hand for Janice here. I live with you. She has got to be the top lawyer in the world. A moral, conscientious lawyer and a really good friend. She's great. You need a good lawyer.
Okay, I'll continue with the reading here. Unlike most Americans who have a thorough grasp of the names of their special military forces, like the Delta Force, Navy SEALs, and Joint Task Force 4, JTF4, most Canadians haven't got a clue as to the existence of a special anti-terrorist commando squad called the Joint Task Force 2, JTF2, which operates under a multi-million-dollar budget of the Canadian Department of National Defense. This 600-man military outfit has been involved in highly secretive covert operations abroad as well as domestically, which could prove to be violations of international, imperial, and constitutional laws, particularly to the indigenous nations of this country. The Joint Task Force 2 was originally given their name by former Deputy Minister of Defense Robert Fowler and Colonel Michael O'Brien, who was in charge of National Defense Headquarters Operations Center and instrumental in JTF2's overseas operations. Fowler and O'Brien had gone to Key West, Florida to witness the American government's Joint Task Force 4 in action. This JTF4 was a combined military and law enforcement team that specialized in tracking down and capturing drug runners, whether light planes or speedboats, loaded with cocaine. Fowler was so impressed with this team, and he named his newly formed killing squad that he and other dignitaries had used as personal bodyguards, the Joint Task Force 2, here in JTF2. The JTF2 had originated in 1990 as a special anti-terrorist squad for the RCMP and were known then as CERT, S-C-R-T, or Special Emergency Response Team. Then in 1993, the Canadian military picked them up to deploy for international operations and missions and legitimized mercenary activities. My interpretation, i.e. splitting the sky. The JTF do rigid, grueling exercises on a 200-acre horse farm in Dwyer Hills, Ontario. They train with fully automatic weapons and explosives in artificially erected buildings called killing houses. A universal team employed in all special operations training camps. They train in these camps to simulate actual hostage-taking scenarios to be prepared for split-second action. Much of the JTF2's training comes from highly specialized military personnel of the British SAS team that in no uncertain terms has been characterized as brutal assassins. The SAS has a trademark for putting 100 rounds of bullets in every captured suspected member of the Irish Republican Army, the IRA. Soldier. The author of this report to Parliament, Splitting the Sky, feels that the JTF2 is currently conducting the same type of death squad assassinations against the captured Al-Qaeda Muslim fighters in Afghanistan and illegally turning over a small percentage of prisoners to be tortured inside Guantanamo Bay in Cuba in violation of the Geneva Accord. General John de Castellan picked an officer from his own regiment, the Princess Patricia Canadian Light Infantry, named Lieutenant Colonel Ray Rosas, as the first commander to head the JTF2. The military brass was having a hard time justifying its then $48 million a year budget that is now at $119 million annually, because this military outfit was never used. Then, as if political manna had fallen from heaven to overshadow the luxury trips and limitless expense accounts used by Robert Fowler, Michael Bryan, and many other in top military portfolios, lawyers at OCA would give the Canadian government justification for their continuous voluptuous JTF2 war chest. Former Prime Minister Brian Mulroney would order 5,000 soldiers to take positions against a native war party of 50 people, mostly women and children, from Kanesatake, Mohawk territory. The JTF2 could now justify its existence as it helped to map out attack plans at the confrontation site. Their presence at OCA amounted to very little, but the JTF2 would then be commissioned to develop an operational plan that went by the names Operation Campus and Operation Scorpion Saxon. In this particular operation in 1994, it was the intent of the French government to stop Mohawk entrepreneurs from selling tobacco products that the Canadian government deemed illegal. The reason it was classified as illegal was because the government was losing $1 billion a year in tax revenues, and this, of course, was a declaration of war. By then, based solely on economic trepidation and jealousies of those who exercise economic self-sufficiency. The JTF2 quickly came to the realization that the firepower of the Mohawk warrior societies of this is where I always fall victim of pronunciations, right? Forgive me. Akosani, Kanesatake, Kanawaki, and a rear guard by